This video has been automatically generated from an article written by Martin Freiland. That's me on martinfreiland.com. Up February 23, 2021. I wrote an article titled "The Brain-Damaging Virus Variant Predicted by Martin Freiland is Coming." The Nipah virus in January 28, 2026. Reuters reported that airports in Asia have started checks again after 2 cases of Nipah were found in India. Did not the EU coincidentally sign a free trade agreement with them yesterday? So that so-called Nipah virus can blow over to Europe. It is all nonsense and another deception, but fortunately there are people like Pierre Capel who can show you Lighthouse TV beautiful pictures may be shown to make you believe that viruses do indeed exist. It is a very nice theory of Professor Dr. Immunologist Professional Liar Pierre Capel, namely that a virus is something that is in between dead and alive. According to him, a virus is dead, but can inject something into a living host. The question of how that dead virus does that is, of course, not asked by Flavio Pasquino, because Flavio really likes cycling, and a bike is also dead. A bike also does not move by itself. Flavio knows that very well, of course. If you are dead and you want to inject something, you need energy and drive, and that cannot be done with something that is dead. But Professor Dr. Immunologist Professional Liar Pierre Capel came up with the picture below, which is said to have been made with an electron microscope. Well, that looks very mechanical. It looks like a machine. You could even think it is a nanobot, but that is all distraction. In today's world of AI and computer-generated images, CGI, you can produce anything. Now you might think, but a Professor Dr. Immunologist would never do that, right? And that is the trick. Those titles and the comfortable belly and the hypnotic talk about interesting museum visits by Pierre make you think you are dealing with a serious person. And just like serious politicians, they never lie, of course. And besides, it is presented by alternative media, so you are even more likely to believe it. You can watch the long-winded and hypnotic chatter of the Professor Dr. Immunologist, who has been lying his whole life at this link. This is strongly discouraged, as the chance that you will be carried away by the hypnotic induction and pacing techniques that Pierre applies as a professional liar can only be recognized by the trained eye. Such professional liars are now allowed to live in luxury because they have served the system well when needed. The reason I still wanted to point you to the video is to show that the virus lie is once again being sold hard by the alternative media. That is how Judas goats work. Flavio Pasquino is a master of balancing on the edge and pretending to give all sounds a stage. But in reality, you are looking at a carefully orchestrated story intended to sell you the virus lie. The rest of the hour and a half is just packaging. And that virus lie must continue to be sold to you so that new pandemics can be hoaxed whenever a lockdown is needed and everyone needs to be locked up again. It is super easy to deploy. Just watch how quickly people start wearing masks again as soon as even a little fear of the next virus is triggered in the media. Oh, you thought people had become wiser now? No, of course not. The non-player characters in the game are programmed in such a way that only a few triggers are needed to pick up where they left off. That is how hypnosis works. You lay down hypnotic anchors, and whenever you trigger those anchors, people snap back into the same mode. What are seen as viruses are actually exosome reactions of the cells themselves. Viruses have never been isolated. There is no evidence of infections provided other than fabricated evidence, such as through the invalid PCR test. We cannot take such images of Pierre seriously. At the time of the corona psyop, the system that controls the global chessboard launched its controlled opposition pawns. It was a well-oiled operation, which meanwhile served as a distraction for the major population transfer of the Palestinians to the United Arab Emirates. Pierre Capel was one of those controlled opposition pawns who was allowed to tell people that viruses do exist, but that the infection was at most a bit exaggerated, and that vaccination should be a voluntary choice. This basic lie is still being maintained, and so the so-called Nipah virus has all the potential to usher in the next hoax. As long as you continue to believe that viruses exist, you can be frightened and let yourself be locked up. Okay, that's it again. Share and like this video, and until next time.